Hello and welcome to Wrestleopinionated. This is our weekly show all about the shows of AEW. We are your hosts. I am Morg and this is...
Garfield the cat, and this is...
Survived 8 hours of meetings today, Muir.
Do you know I'm Garfield the cat, boys? I fucking hate Mondays. I had to watch 2 hours and 27 of Dark Elevation today.
You didn't
I
have
haven't even had lasagna. I did. I'm dedicated to this podcast.
I told you that we should just drop Dark and think.
Just lie. Just lie.
That was my first answer. Just lie. But you know, we could just do anything else. You know, we could watch paintings dry together or something like that. It's about as exciting.
I'm swapping, me and Morg are going to swap Dark Elevation for Dark next week, just because I miss having commentators who Excalibur showed up! Oh. Excalibur showed up for the one match. I was like, oh, thank God Excalibur's here. Then he left. It's just because nobody else knows Japanese wrestlers. More on that later. Hi, welcome to our wrestling podcast. I'm Matt Strain.
After last week's week of being full of wrestling...
I'm now exceedingly full. I am one wafer thin mint away from wrestling detonation, shall we say?
Well, this may be the first time you've listened to our podcast, and as such, you would need to know that we have a tier list, which is how we give our reviews for Dark Elevation, BTE, Dynamite Overall, and the individual matches of Dynamite. We are still on our refusing to properly review Dark until it gets good again. Mr. Strange, are you ready to explain the tier list?
Mate, I am. It's the tier list system, as accurate as any star ratings. You might very well know it from a variety of different channels. It's letters in order saying how good or bad something is. And this week I will be describing it in the means of Marines in space. That's right. And I've not warned Muir, so we can be contentious over it. My favourite. Right, our lowest rank match is a D rank match. This is a match you can't be bothered watching. It's lazily written. There's not enough story there. It's shitty. They're shitty. It's the Marines from Avatar. Is it a good film? I don't know. I didn't watch it, but all I know is everything in that is done better in a million different films, and Chris Hemsworth's brother didn't get it over. Bad Marines, bad match. From there, we rock up into our better described match as a C rank match. This is a good match, just enough. You know what I mean? I want to know why they're there. I want to see some good action in the ring. Not tight enough. We can deal with a few mistakes. Good match, and I'm going to give it to Starship Troopers Marines. Didn't like the book, or I didn't read the book. Didn't like the film, but other people seem to like them, and you know they're good enough.
Depends what Marines you're talking about. If you're talking about the book Marines, they pretty much destroy any other Marines because they carry like tactical nukes on their
This
back,
isn't a power level, Nick. It's how good they are as Marines in space. It's not just the power tier of them. It's how over. I need the overness of these Marines, right?
Yeah, carry on.
There we rock up to a B rank match, or as we know it, match +1. This is just better than your normal match. It's got more heart. It's got better wrestling. You don't catch as many slips. You catch some characters. And in honesty, if you're going for a +1 Marine, you can't really get much better than Master Chief. Spartan 101s or whatever they're called. I don't know them. They're big, they're strong, they're fast, they act like American heroes, they're clean in the ring, and they get themselves over. Spartans are fucking cool. But from there, you need to rock up to an A rank, which is the best of the standard, if you know what I mean. This is what sets it above that. It's +1 over the B rank match. It's got to be clean, tight, story strong and driven. And if we're going to rock up from Master Chief, a particularly good Marine in space, it's got to be the truest Marines in space. Space Marines of the Adeptus Astartes. Got fucking 30 years of history. You've got characters who always go over. You've got your Space Hogans. You've got your Space Jobbers. Most of the stuff's pretty good, but the actual look and theme is what we establish as a Space Marine to be. But it's not the top, is it? The top is our favorite S-rank matches. We want strong, cool story. I want to care about the characters. I want that match to blow my mind. I want to see things I've never seen. Oh, the kind of match you can show to normal people and they'll go, maybe wrestling isn't so weird.
This isn't what I think it is.
It's the fucking Colonial Marines from
Thank
Aliens.
God
mate.
it is.
They are. They are the fucking. You talk to an ordinary person about Space Marines, as in the Adeptus Astartes, they'll have an idea what you're on about. They've walked past the Warhammer store
Weird
and seen
nerds.
the nerd toys. You talk to anyone about the fucking Colonial Marines. If you ask if Vazquez has ever been mistaken for a man, you know the fucking response.
Yes.
So that's it. D, the Avatar Marines. They're Pocahontas baddies. It's a shitty match. C, it's a good match. We liked it. Starship Troopers, peoples. I didn't like them. Others did. D, better than an average Marine. It's fucking Master Chief. It's better than an average match. A, it's what people come to expect. It's what we want as the pinnacle of your monthly thing. It's a fucking Space Marine, preferably a Dark Angel, but the 90s Dark Angels, not the other ones. And S rank, the fucking Colonial Marines. They have the best lines, the best film. It's fucking great, and they set the standard. Boom. There you go, boys.
I was sitting there going, if he doesn't put the aliens as S, I'm wondering where the hell he's going with this.
Mate, they are the best Marines in space. Not Space Marines, G-Dub could sue us.
So, moving on. News. And a couple of bits of news this
I'll get
week.
the list.
Yeah, let's start off with... It's all quite depressing. Dubsy have just had WrestleMania, which means that Dubsy have now had what they always do after WrestleMania, and thanked a lot of people with their future endeavours.
Right, I've got the master list. We had to follow this for a little bit. 10 official confirmed superstars released by Thursday evening. Some of these blow my mind. Some of these I feel bad for, would you believe? Probably the biggest one to me is Samoa Joe. Who undoubtedly we will see on TNA within the next few months, be it a cameo or a match or whatever, because he has shoved MJF before in a WWE promo. Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, who I believe, is it the Iconics or the Illconics?
The Iconics.
It's just they seem to have two eyes at the start. Strange. People have got rumors that they're going to Impact, but Peyton Royce is married to Sean Spears and they run a gym together, so they might be local.
Stardom boys.
Mad one for me, Mickie James. Like, I know she's not always been thought of as like one of the biggest, most over names in women's wrestling, but she has fucking helped build the foundation of women's wrestling, and she's really good. That's strange to me. She'll probably go to NWA with Nick Aldis, I imagine.
Probably.
Chelsea. Probably. Right, just agreeing with Wicked.
Yeah.
Chelsea Green, a name I recognise from the Indies. Don't know her too well. She was an Impact title holder, if I recall. Was she over in the WWE, Morg?
I don't even know who she was. She was probably
awesome.
She was probably on NXT. She was probably one of the new run of NXT girls. And as I haven't been watching or keeping up to date
she
with
was
it much,
pushed
recently.
as the next Charlotte Flair for a while. Then they got distracted by something else.
Not anymore.
And then
Probably got distracted by Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, as it should be. Anyway,
but she's put up on social media a bunch of pictures of her old gimmick, which is smeared lipstick or something. I'm not sure. We'll see. Tucker, which makes me feel a little bit sad for him. Half of Heavy Machinery. I'm not sure if Otis has enough personality to carry himself without a straight man. I don't watch
he's
WWE.
got Chad Gable at the moment.
But you know you can't have
Shorty Gable.
Shorty
G.
Fucking hell. Continuing his run of incredibly bad luck in the wrestling industry, Kalisto's gone again.
He'll be back next week.
They'll need him for a Legends night.
At least there's a million places to be a luchador these days. Yeah. Mojo Rawley, don't really know him. He's gone. Nope, nobody on that one. Wesley Blake gone. Don't know who that is either. Sorry, guys, I don't watch WWE. I know you're all listening to this incredibly important Three White Man podcast, but here we are. And the one that throws me the most, and I know people hated him, and I know he had like a mixed version of over, but Baron Corbin, Bo Dallas, has been released.
Baron Corbin and Bo Dallas are not the same person.
Oh, they not? I thought they were. Oh.
No, Bo Dallas is Bray Wyatt's brother.
And I'm good at this.
Son. Younger brother, not son.
Younger brother, yeah.
Yeah. Well, here we go. They look alike. They've got beards and dark hair. Bo Dallas is gone. I don't know who he is.
He hasn't done anything for like a year, so it's surprising he didn't get knocked out in the last year's Black, whatever they're calling this
Yeah.
firing period.
WWE ruins their popularity amongst smaller wrestling fans. Samoa Joe will show up somewhere though. That's nice.
So weird for them
Go on.
to do it after WrestleMania though, because they're trying to build up like their public image and all this bollocks. They just instantly fire people.
Hey, look at us! Suck
They
everyone.
always do it after WrestleMania.
I know, but it still doesn't make any sense to me.
So yeah, moving on from Dubsy's big news, we have had a release from AEW as well.
Oh yeah, Evie's gone.
Yeah.
I actually looked this up. I've got the description of it. Eva Lise has been released. She said it's unfair. She put up a bunch of tweets that were deleted, basically blaming Thunder Rosa and saying she called out things in the company and was ignored, but she's deleted all that stuff now. I mean, we don't know the intricacies and workings of AEW. We don't know if there are issues behind there. And there's nepotism in any circle you build. But Evie does have a reputation for this sort of issue, shall we say. She fell out with Jack Evans as soon as she arrived in AEW. Apparently there were numerous backstage problems with her in Lucha Underground. So, there we go. No Evie anymore.
Rare peep. I think that's only like the third or fourth person that they've let go.
Let me think. Tried to balance things.
Yeah, they've tried to not release anybody during the pandemic as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit of a shame. So go on.
Whatever.
I think we all knew it was going to go wrong after she was sort of half no-selling that Rosa match, and then it became, a sort of real fight in the ring for us.
I mean, it was a bold choice to start shooting on her, but, they had heat from Lucha Underground, so, it is what it is,
Yeah, it's a shame. I like TV, but,
Gotta keep everybody happy.
Yes.
Right, get back on track, Morg. Take over.
So, moving on from there, it's time for social media of the week, where we pull out a piece of social media we think that you should have a look at. And this week, it's me who's found something. Normally, this is Mr. Strange's thing. So, AEW has started doing a thing called Outside the Ropes, where they interview wrestlers. Just very simple interview, and I believe it was not this week's, because this week's is OG Dark Order, which I'm going to watch probably later, because that should be
you've
funny.
got us covered for next week as well. Nice, thank you.
But last week was a bad one, and the reason it's so good is, I was expecting it to be her without the makeup. No, she does the whole thing as a bad one. It's very silly.
Blessed kayfabe.
Yeah, it's very silly. She kind of breaks character, but not. You need to watch it to see what I mean. But yeah, she keeps character throughout of it, and yeah, it's really good. I enjoyed it. It's certainly 3 or 4 minutes of your life that is not a complete waste.
Oh, is it only that short?
Oh yeah, it's really short.
Oh, Morg, I'm back in. 3 to 4 minutes of a crazy zombie person in cave. Kayfabe. I'll give that for 3 to 4 minutes of my time.
Yeah, it's 5 minutes at the most.
Wicked.
So, moving on from there, it's time for our review of the week. And we start off, as always, with BTE, or Being the Elite. Mr. Muir.
It was a short one, wasn't it?
No, this one was slightly longer this time. It was It was the week before that was only 10 minutes. We get a recap of the Bucks turning heel. Then we see them skateboarding through Jacksonville. And that's about all I can really say for the first 2 minutes. We had another good Matt Hardy promo, which, seems like the whole build for this feud with Darby has been on Being the Elite instead of on the show.
It's a good thing we get a great payoff for it. More on that later.
But it was a good promo from Hardy. I enjoyed this enough. I thought it was fine.
I wish Hardy was as good in the ring as he is at promoing.
Yeah, he just needs, he needs to just be a full-time manager now. But, then we get to the Dark Order. They're happy that they're doing better. something I didn't quite understand, but Colt's mother will make a rap of you if you offend him, or something like that. Colt said when they were offending him.
I'm guessing that's a Colt joke, an ongoing Colt joke.
Yeah, I must have missed that. Silver then goes to describe his experience of meeting Sting, which was when he met Eddie like a month ago, which I thought was quite funny.
Continuity is something we need in our BTE stories, and that's non-facetious.
Yeah, there is a lot of continuity in BTE, to be fair.
Yes, mate.
I think if they didn't, they would call themselves out on it. It's because it's that kind of inside joke thing.
Yeah, fair.
Then we had the girl of the week was Statlander, and I like that it seems to be.
I like this new joke.
The Stu is the only one that can seem to see that it's changing from Anna. Everybody else just thinks that it's a different woman that's been there the whole time.
I love the way
different timeline.
Yeah, I also love the way that Stu's like, but I'm sure there was somebody else.
Yeah,
and it's not even he's not like, but it's that. I like that nice little Dark Order running joke.
And then we had 5 come in with a big dick.
I properly laughed at his big dick. I
was obviously a water bottle.
I was lightly chuckling until Hangman leant in sideways to take a photo of it.
Yes.
And on Twitter, they all called him cool that day, as opposed to shitting on him for ages. So I don't know. There's something about a big dick joke that makes the 12-year-old in me laugh still to this day.
So then we move on to the God Squad, and they're trying to sell their stuff as normal. Christian Daniels wishes that he had Ryzen's gimmick, which I found funny. Because
of his fallen angel.
No, that what he wears is
and the higher order
is Chris Daniels' old outfit, effectively.
Is it really? Yeah, I know it's very similar.
Yeah.
It's virtually identical to what Christopher Daniels wore when he was doing the full fallen angel gimmick.
Then we had Ryzen eating some of the Good Bros blue pills, and then he gets stuck at the desk at the end of it because he obviously has an erection from eating too much Viagra, which I thought was funny.
I did
as
laugh.
a man who finds dick jokes funny, I tend to check the opinion of my partner, and she was giggling away quite happily at him being stuck beneath the table with a honking stiffy.
The Raptor also found that one amusing, and it was a case of, because it was well set up, you knew exactly where it was going.
Yeah. Oh.
Then we had the original Dark Order having counselling from Alex, the Spanish commentator Alex.
I thought this was fucking hilarious.
Who was just doing his normal Penta bit, but obviously saying completely what he wanted to say. Like, we all imagine what he does with Penta. So I thought that was quite good. And then somehow it works at resolving their conflict, which I thought was quite funny.
Stu Grayson, when Uno's like, let's go kick the shit out of somebody, the fact he sort of scurried off on all fours off the table properly made me laugh. Like an excited dog, basically. Come on, Stu. Mate. We can hurt some people.
Then we moved on to Bucks and Kenny. We had a big, long recap of all their time together, like with being the Elite and stuff like that. Then we had quite a heartfelt speech from Kenny on why they're actually like this, which I thought was quite good and really should be on the show.
Yeah, a lot of that on BTE, though. They could probably put it into Dark Elevation more on that.
At least, yeah. Like, they have 2 shows that are technically above this on the scale, if you know what I mean.
That matter.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that any show is above BTE. It is consistently the best show.
You might have a point.
But still, they should be putting on the one that earns them the money.
Yes, I agree.
Is that the end of BTE?
That is the end of BTE, because that speech was like 5 minutes, but I recommend going to go see it. I'm not going to recap all of it.
It was a good episode.
Yeah, it was solid. It was a solid B episode of Being the Elite.
Funny, dick jokes. The Bucks do something trivial in the background, but it's skateboarding, and that's kind of nice for them. We've watched the story of the skateboard and a promo that should be on the show at the end.
Yeah.
Good episode. I agree.
It was a good. So, on from something good. I don't know what you think about it yet, but I know it was long. I saw this, and I normally, when I'm watching matches now, and I have this thing where I turn to the Raptor and go, "Strange, would have hated that."
Yeah.
Look, we saw it come up, and it was 2.5 hours, and I was like, "Oh, poor Strange."
Hey, I watched it this morning. That's right, we're on the section of the show we've always called Strevelation. The point where Matt Strange covers.
Just saying, we could do anything else here. Talk about different wrestling companies, anything else than watch this show.
You know what? I am tempted that we might have to take a break. Should we start reviewing NXT in this section if they don't buck their ideas up?
I'm a proud man who doesn't watch certain things. When people are like, "Oh, did you watch the latest Star Wars film?" I go, "No, just didn't watch it." Makes them really angry. I'm not doing it.
NXT's good.
There's a picture of a card that says, "I had no interest, nor did I watch it." This is how I feel right now.
Look, if we're cutting anything from the show, I'm having half hour to talk about anime at the start. I can't watch any more wrestling.
Let's talk about Dark.
Let's welcome to my review of Let's Balance the Wins and Loss Records
show. My favorite show.
Right, we've actually got some stuff in here today, which isn't too bad. We open up with Clayton versus 10. Clayton actually gets a bunch of moves in. Didn't give a shit, though, but solid enough. 10 wins with the full Nelson. Once again, my partner has not been watching Dark Elevation with me, and she saw the full Nelson submission win, and she started laughing because she thinks it looks like a silly move as well. So it's not just me. I appreciate it's a real wrestling move that hurts, but you are just sort of holding a man behind his arms and just wiggling him about a bit.
Yeah.
Give him a shake. Completely skippable. Then Miro fought a Ginger Man for 45 seconds and won. Didn't even write down his name.
Miro didn't lose. I'm shocked.
I know. Shida and Tay took on Someone Gray and Perez. No intros for them. And of course, these two needed a tag match to get their wins up. Everyone in this match who's good is good. Perez is still solid. Solid enough match. Who is it for? And Shida did her awful new Katana Aijutsu Strike Enziguri. You can skip it. No, right. TH2 took on Carly Bravo and Alexander. Once again, no intros for the losers. Solid enough match. Jack Evans did most of the shit. Nobody got elevated. Alexander got like 3 seconds in the ring and then tapped out instantly to an Angelico submission. But I do enjoy watching Angelico dance in and out the ring. I think the guys have great character.
That's the only thing. That's what I just don't understand why you need 2.5 hours of wrestling and people can't even get entrances in that 2.5 hours. That's ridiculous.
Hey, we're currently like 12 minutes into this episode.
Yeah, I know. But I'm still going to complain.
Thunder Rosa did a big face energy promo versus Diamante. She shouted in Spanish a bit. She's good at this stuff. I enjoyed it. More Thunder Rosa, please. We're on to one of my recommends. Orange Cassidy took on Skyler, who I complimented previously for his match against Hangman, I believe. He's a beardy man, bit chunky. Once again, the Best Friends intro should be gigantic by the Pixies because the lyrics make me laugh. Skyler got no intro, but they did let him speak. And he was like, let's have a wrestling match. Do some wrestling. He shouted about not getting a lockout. Reminded me of WrestleMania, if I'm honest. And he got some of his personality over. Bit of fun in the match. Nice pace break for what we've had. Good fun. Don't skip it if you're watching this. Well worth a pop. Rising Star section was the Captain Sean Dean. It's your standard AEW thing where he stands about talking about his past and some heartwarming music plays. He looked at some planes, probably because there's no boats nearby. He was in the Navy.
Just assume next to some planes. They're the same as boats. Go on.
I mean, the planes do go on the boats, but if you're talking about the Navy, I expect a ship. Like I know there's a mix, but if you're talking about the Marines, I'd expect guys on foot firing guns, not being near boats. In my previous list of Marines, probably my favorite.
I am going to have to point out that Marines are actually boat soldiers, though.
Yes, but the thing is, they are generally deployed. It's why I didn't count stormtroopers in
the. I know what you mean.
Space. Annie Limelight took on Takashita, who is a new person who's come over from DDT. Watch this match. It's really good. Excalibur was on comms, thank God. They had a wrestling start. It was good and even. Takeshita pulled off the biggest Blue Thunder bomb I've ever seen. He's got great pacing. He's like an AEW Okada.
Yeah.
And at one point, Danny Limelight was like down beneath his legs, like on the floor.
Yep.
He got his arms around him and he full deadlifted him from borderline behind him through a full German suplex.
Sweet.
It was awesome. Takeshita got the win, which means he's obviously going to get a push. Watch it. Give it a watch. He's great. He's a big yen wrestler.
Cool.
Joey and Sonny got a promo. Nice to see they're alive. New gimmick feel came through because they're going for that slight Jay and Silent Bob vibe. Apparently there were good. Yeah, but there were some girls who wanted to suck on Joey's nipples, but Sonny had to take him to the match. Got a chuckle from me. We didn't go straight into that match. We went into FTR versus the no intro jobbers, Lion and Black, who I've never seen. I have a new least favorite luchador now.
What?
The match literally opened with the luchador mask pull. I'd have avoided that with what comes on Dynamite. But it goes back on. Then they just ass-kicked one dude. There was a brief comeback, and they won. Hair FTR only entered for the pin, obviously, to get bald FTR over for this match with Jericho. Lame and unelevating. Yeah. But going from an unelevating match to an elevating match, Pac and Phoenix took on Morales and Montoya. I complimented Morales last week, if you recall. No intro for the jobbers, but boy, did they get put over. We got a strong start from Montoya. Phoenix sold for him. A bunch of different cool tag moves and bouncing and hot tags. The kids got over. I'm going to confirm, though, Morg, as I think you may have some... I know you're intrigued to see where Death Triangle are going. Pac and Phoenix are definitely heel. 100% heel.
What you mean this week?
Yes, this week.
They are turning into the big show of AEW, but without actually ever turning.
Assholes.
Yeah,
they've not committed to anything yet. They just like fighting people. That's how I'm reading it. And they did the Bucks taunt in the ring, which made me laugh because they don't normally have that kind of stupid fun. God, this goes on.
Mate, can we have a rest tonight and head for the summit tomorrow?
Right, Dante, the younger one from Top Flight, took on Baron Black. Baron Black got no intro. Still think he deserves a little bit more now. He's been there for a while. Solid enough. Dante looks good. I don't think he's necessarily deserves this great sort of. I don't think he needs crush win. Wait, it's not a crush win. What's the point in building up his win-loss record? Some weird flip slams and stuff that didn't quite work. Or he does a lot of cool stuff, but a lot of it's not quite there. He needs to keep things a shade simpler, shall we say. And I feel bad for Baron Black. You can skip this one. One of my new favourite heel teams, Paige and Scorpio, did a promo. And they basically explained the title shots are bullshit. Like, why does this random person get a title shot? And this man's number one. Good stuff. They bounce off each other really well. Good bit of character work.
Cool.
Britt versus Sky Blue. New last, no intro for her.
God damn it.
She seems all right. Not sure she knew a lot of Britt's moves, though, so there was not a lot of chemistry there. I think there was an attempted elevation, but they weren't smooth together, and it's completely skippable. I think we're most of the way there now, boys. Imagine how I was feeling. QT Marshall and Nick Comoroto took on Calez and Kato. Some guys. No interest for them.
Oh my God.
There is a little thing in this.
Yeah?
It's a bit of solid mid-card building, short, skippable. I don't know if, and as we know, Shad, Nick Jackson, and who else Anderson listen to this show.
Yeah.
One guy who I assume is Australian-ish, from a specific island, had on in the back of his shorts, it says, Spasmanian Devil.
Oh my God, that's awful.
Which
you can't have that.
You can't have that. If you are an member of our American audience or European audience, and the term Spasmanian Devil doesn't mean anything to you, I would recommend you Google it. And if you work for AEW, get that changed, please. Can't have a Spasmanian devil. Mike Seidel took on Nakazawa.
Great.
Exactly what you expect. Fine, skippable. Seidel won. Nakazawa matches are half as funny without Taz laughing for you.
Yeah.
Pac and Phoenix did a "We're Gonna Beat the Bucks" promo.
Good one.
You know, there we go. A match I was actually interested in.
Go on.
Shanna versus Layla Hirsch.
Okay, fair.
Would you believe?
No, that's a good card.
Grappling, few pace moves. I actually wanted this match. This is two women who have not been at the top of the card, have not been overly pushed. Yeah, and they both need a little bit more.
Yep.
I think we got a heel turn from Shanna.
Okay.
She tore off her Dragon Ball Z design shirt at one point to choke Hirsch with it, revealing her new under costume is Vegeta's colors. Vegeta obviously being originally a villain, being a tweener. Then they sort of shoved each other afterwards and such like. Hirsch actually won.
Okay, yeah.
So we might have a feud between Hirsch and Shanna, and I'm here for this.
I'm down for that. That's
from there we roll into a Takashita promo.
Oh!
I know, and he was doing some shit. He was trying to speak to Marvez, but then Kenny comes out with Nak to take over because obviously they speak Japanese. Tries to win him over, and he's recruiting him to fight the Seidels. And Takashita's like, "Oh yeah, wicked, cool." And then he's like, "Yeah, oh, you're not tagging with me. You'll be tagging with Nakazawa." And you could just see the look of disgust on Takashita. Proper good. Yeah, he doesn't speak English, but he sold it to me. He was literally like, "Him? He's no
really?
Great, good promo. Really made me laugh." Brandon Cutler lost to Penta, obviously. They had a match. Penta's getting his mojo back, but these two don't have a lot of chemistry in the ring. I'd say this was passable. He did the arm snap. They talk about tearing tendons and maybe dislocating an elbow.
Did Penta come out to his Lucha Underground music?
No, he didn't. He's talking about Luchadors, Mexicans. Okay. Cutler did get a bit busted open by the final move by the look of it. And then they sort of all of Death Triangle KO came in and taunted him whilst he was bleeding. So they're definitely heels.
They sound like faces to me.
They sound like faces. And is it? Oh God, no! There's still more. Rosa took on Diamante. Good, solid sort of NWA grappling strikes and throw stuff. Not a lot of chemistry between these two women, but good enough. I think Diamante needs to work on her strikes a bit, but passable. I didn't hate it. We're almost there, boys. We're almost there. Paul, Ego, Ethan Page, and Scorpio Sky took on the Midnight Express, Joey Janela, and Sonny Chris. And I had a good time in this match. It's good fun.
Sounds like indie shit of paradise.
Indie shit of paradise. They've got great chemistry together. Good selling. You can see all their characters on their faces. We've not seen Sonny for a bit. He got a good hot tag. Also, he's calmed down, as we criticised in the past. Not too many of the spots were overdone.
Yep.
Big indie chemistry. Good teamwork in the teams. Good teamwork in Team Narcissism. Ego wins with the ego's edge. Watch it. Good match. The final match.
That wasn't the final.
No. The final is Ralph Zogler or Nemeth versus and Benoni versus the Best Friends. Blessed JD Drake was there at ringside. Once again, they had a lot of fun. There's a lot of chemistry between these guys. Obviously, Trent and Nemeth. Trent and Nemeth's brother are good friends, so I assume he knows the Hollywood hunk pretty well. Benoni was very rarely in the ring, but I think that's to protect him after we've seen he got knocked off the apron a lot, and it was mostly the hunk. But loads of character. Once again, a fun, shitty indie fest. So that was the entire show. So the solid matches that I say you could watch and have a good time with are the Hunks versus the Best Friends and Team Arrogance versus Team Midnight. And on this weekly and regular review of Strelevated, our Strelevated teams are Skylar versus Orange Cassidy, Pac and Phoenix versus Morales and Montague, and Takashita versus Limelight. Those are the 5 matches I would watch in this 2.5 hours of wrestling.
Can I wake up now?
You can, mate. You can. Did you catch the Strelevated list?
Yes.
We've always called it that. Good.
So there you have it. Right. So it's time for the Dynamite review, and Dynamite opens with a Young Bucks promo. Quick and simple. Any comments or thoughts?
Ooh, they're heels.
Oh, we're heels now. You can have a C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about right.
Schiavone, JR Excalibur on commentary, and then we have a Mike Tyson MJF promo.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to get this out now because I do it in every episode, and if he's going to be showing up more, I've got to do it. Mike Tyson did bad things in his past. Everyone gets their redemption arc. He's not a good guy. He shouldn't be on TV. Anyway, MJF saved it by doing MJF things. Once again, it was an all right C moment. Tyson failing to successfully grab the check made me laugh.
Eat it properly.
Yeah, but it's a celebrity on TV. I'm not going to score it above a C. It was all right.
Yeah.
So following on from that, Don Callis joins commentary, and it's Death Triangle, Fenix and Pac playing the faces. As I said, they turned without turning, versus the Young Bucks for the Tag Team Championships. Bucks win after removing Fenix's mask and double super kicks. What did you guys think of the match, and what score did you give it?
Just because they're fighting heels doesn't mean they're faces.
Faces.
You can do it as a tweener. All of these people have been to Japan and Mexico. It's more than WWE, goodie or baddie these days. And obviously the Bucks come out showing their baddies because they've got new headbands from the Nyla Rose School of Cake Decorations.
Yeah.
And we open with a fucking lockup, which might not excite anybody else, but I watched WrestleMania last week. Check out that episode if you want to see why I'm so excited by the wrestling and ring work that came out afterwards. Oh, some wrist control. Oh, a bit of grappling. Wonderful. Phoenix, I still think is the best wrestler in the work, and he's doing it. Him and Nick Jackson stopped at the dropkick spot I bitched about last week as well. Wonderful. And obviously they're great together. Obviously we still got some strikes in it. We did have a bit of a silly kick spots with holding a leg and flipping it, but then it just went into just kicks. That was between Pac and Phoenix on Nick, I believe. Phoenix's dodge sequence about a third of the way through the match to get away from the both Bucks for the hot tag on Pac was fucking phenomenal. He was dodging like a boxer and it was great. We get a bit of classic stuff. We get the traditional Bullet Club stereo apron power bombs, and we get a bunch of good new heel offense from the Bucks. We've got cheeky pullovers. We've got eye rakes. It's good things. We get fucking Matt doing a hot tag and mocking and things when he's on where Pac should be, and he's pretended to be him. And then fucking Pac hits him with a vengeance lariat that, I think would legit have killed me. It was wonderful. Phoenix does his over-the-top rope spot, which is similar to every on-the-top rope spot he does, but also different enough so it's Phoenix still. Pac selling like a fucking pro through this match. And honestly, I thought for a while Pac and Phoenix were going to win. And that's a sign of a good match, if you ask me. If I go in going, they have to win, they've heel turned.
Yeah.
Near the end, you get me to blow it. Amazing. I love the monkey flip bounce off the... in fact, Morg, you're going to be surprised where this is going. I loved the bounce off the ropes monkey flip into a Canadian destroyer.
When I saw that, I turned around and went, Strange, you'll have hated that.
It looked like it had momentum. It worked. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. Normally, they sort of land on their shoulders and go, and
they sort of stay there for like 10 seconds, then do the flip, and it looks fucking retarded. It looks stupid.
Yeah, no. Yeah. With the momentum, I would take that as somebody's move. If they jumped up into like the code breaker position, bounced off the rope and went into it, I'd fucking buy it. Then we got more strikes. Then we got stereo poison ranas. And I love a stereo poison rana. We got a pin break that was one person being pushed by another onto the pin. Then we got it. End of the match. That fucking mask steal was great. It flew off, and it's the best way to keep the power heels clean. I gave this a high B at the time, but I'm rounding it up to an A just because as I'm reminiscing it, the joy is coming back to me. It's feeding my face with lucha goodness. Wonderful.
I think the best thing about this match is how well the Bucks have just completely changed their offense back to classic, Bullet Club Bucks, which is fantastic. They're not showing off anymore. They're just, ground and pounding and doing a few minor flips compared to the normal Arsenal. And I really enjoyed this. It was really nice that the high spots were limited in a box match, because normally it's just so much flipping I get bored of it.
Yes, mate.
So I think this was far superior, and they're far better. They've always been better heels than they are faces, but this was great. There was loads of back rakes, was one of my notes, which I'm sure I did enjoy. My only downer on it was a lot of kickouts, but But other than
It's a Bucks match.
I really enjoyed this. It was really nice to see. And this is, arguably 4 of the best wrestlers in the world, showing you why they're the 4 of the best wrestlers in the world.
What an opener.
Yeah.
What an opener.
Yeah.
Did you give it?
I gave it a high B. But I'm not sure. I don't know.
I'm with you, Strange.
Morg.
It was a low A.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a low A. I felt that storyline wise, as the the booking on the fly person, I actually would have had Pac and Fenix go over, because I think that would have been an even more interesting story, because all of a sudden you've had the Bucks turn heel and they lose, and so maybe turning heel wasn't the right thing to do. I thought could have been an interesting story, but throughout the match it came open more, and that was going into the match, because I wasn't sure after last week's whether they turned heel or whether they just felt they should. Do you know what I mean? Or whether they were just conflicted, and I thought the conflicted storyline was what I was thinking they were going with. This was really, really solid. As I say, it got an A from me.
Right, so on the old Instagram after this, I don't know how many people out there know, masks are really important in Mexican wrestling. Phoenix has asked or called out the Bucks to a mask versus hair match.
Oh, are we going to see Phoenix unmasked?
Please no.
One of them can lose instead.
But
the Bucks are already losing their hair. They can lose the rest of it for Phoenix's mask in a singles
The
match.
Raptor will be very sad, because one of the Bucks has the best hair in the business.
Is it Matt?
I think it's Matt. I will, hang on, bear with me. I will find out which Bucks is it has the best. It is Matt who has the better hair. Yeah, Nick's is thinning a bit, so.
A bit. Let's not rip on people's hairs, says man with bald spot. Let's move on with the
my
show.
luscious hair, I'm going to rip on them.
Says man with receding hairline. Moving on. Hangman and Dark Order promo. Thoughts, scores?
Made me laugh. Good comedy pacing for that break. I laughed at the shoulder tapping thing, and it's the other one. You're just really strong. And I really laughed at John Silver's rehab, just being him lifting his arms, going. Rah! I gave it a B. That's what I want from my promos, just to laugh.
It was fucking bollocks. Let's be honest here. I really enjoyed this. I loved the fact that Hangman just avoided the question. It's like, nah, fuck it. I don't want to have to deal with these people anymore. I'm hanging with my mates. Fuck it. I'm not even responding to you.
Well, now, me and the Raptor both said, as this happened, he got asked the question, and he answered the question. In a way.
He's always known they were bad guys.
No, it's not that.
Known them.
It wasn't just that. He answered the question by being with the Dark Order. And I thought that was really clever. And I mean, an AEW are subtle and clever like that. Yeah, I watched that and went, well, he just answered that question.
No, I like the fact
when Alex went, oh, you didn't answer the question. I'm like, oh, I think he did.
He's always known this was in them. He has left these people who had bad hearts and mistreated him, and found these people who were apparently bad who treat him well. It's a lovely turn of story. He knew all along they were bad. Pure-hearted Tanahashi child Hangman.
Moving on from there, Inner Circle and Tyson promo.
Tyson bad. Tyson explanation good. Not bad Tysoning. C.
I thought Jericho's work was good here.
Yeah, he carried it. It was solid enough. It was a thing. For what you expect, solid enough. He gets a C.
So following on from that, a match that surprised me. Red Velvet versus Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill wins with Jaded. Thoughts and scores?
Dimes Velvet. We start with strikes. You're going to get a lot of that this show, boys. I really like the thing of being Velvet outskills Cargill, and that came across in this match. We got to see some things you don't see in regular women's matches. When Cargill tossed Red Velvet over her head with enough height that Velvet can land, that's not something we've seen with women's wrestling in some time. And this is something only Cargill can really add out of our current women we know. It's like Jordan Grace rocks in, but yeah, we've still got clever pacing on Cargill to cover some of her greenness.
Whoever's booking her matches deserves a fucking gold medal because they booked them perfectly.
That Velvet's one cell on the corner throw was ludicrous. They're getting really good together. Jade's getting some cool moves. Her big spinning bomb looked great. It was a good small versus giant match. We don't need to worry about Velvet's presence in the stage. As I've always said, she's fucking great and she wears her character and attitude in everything she does. I still think Jade is a good finisher.
Yes.
I think the finish could have been a little bit cleaned up, but I gave this a high C. I quite enjoyed this match. I think Velvet is really starting to bring some good stuff out of Jade, and Jade is exactly the right shape to make you some big money in the future, shall we say?
Anything to add to
this match? It was good enough. It's not going to be your best match with a girl that's been in the ring 4 times. I think this is as much as you can expect from her, and fair play to Velvet to getting the best out of her she can. And obviously the pacing and booking in the match is superb as well. But, it's a solid C.
Should you give it, Morg? What's your opinion?
Solid C from me. As I say, surprised. I thought this was going to be terrible. I wasn't sure whether Red Velvet could pull Jade Cargill to a great match, and I think they both did really well. I think they both did the work. I agree. Whoever's booking this is doing a really good job. So enjoyed that. Moving on, Britt Baker interview. Thoughts?
Please watch Dark.
Please watch Elevation. It made me laugh, to be completely honest. I had a light chuckle. Yeah, they mocked the rankings. She was like, "We need a good person in the first place, not Sheeda." That made me laugh. Britt's good. She's working better with Reba these days. Yeah, solid Britt promo. Another C.
I also find it funny that the chart was wrong as well, because in the background it had someone that was 6-1 that was above someone that was 7-1 on the chart. The one she wasn't pointing out was another mathematical error on it, which made me laugh. But
a mathematical error, you say?
Yeah.
33 in the third.
Are we going to add Samoa Joe to this mix?
We might have to add Samoa Joe to the mix.
Okay.
Then he knows he can't beat her.
Anthony Ogogo with the Factory, much better faction name than the Pinnacle, versus Cole Carter. Ogogo wins by stoppage.
How do you win a match that you cause a stoppage by an illegal strike?
I don't know if it was an illegal strike, was it?
Closed hand punches are illegal in wrestling. He just decked him in the ribs. Yeah. Anyway, I like his music. It's good Western music. Let's be honest. What was that?
It's Big Ben Dong noises.
It's Big Ben Dong music. Anyway, I quite like the idea. It worked well. Made him look big. As a section, a C. As a match, a D. I quite like him. I can't get over the governor. I'm from London, mate. But yeah, anybody who's from London doesn't think Londoners are hard. So
yeah, they don't realise just how scary Pac's accent is over in America.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, so just if you have got any American listeners, what Pac wears to the ring is what most people from Newcastle wear in the middle of winter.
That's basically what women wear when they're going out up north, in my experience, in the freezing snow.
So what are we?
Can't wear that.
What are we saying? Are we deciding it's a section or are we saying it's a match? Because I think I'm in agreement with you on that. Does it get a C or does it get a D?
D. 'Cause
I'm
it's
willing to
still
give it a.
pretending to be a match.
Okay. We'll give it a D for pretending to be a match and the ambiguity of the punch. But and honestly, we've got a big rank of C's. I don't think that D's going to matter too much.
Following on from that, Miro promo. Any thoughts?
Miro and Kip split up. I miss Funny Miro. I've only known a Funny Miro for about 2 weeks now, but I miss him. Otherwise, it was a fine standard pro. I crush people. Miro strong. Kip run away. Obviously, it's leading to our Kip face turn, which will be good because I like Kip and I think his goofiness will work better in it. But I miss Funny Miro. What do you boys think?
I thought there should have been a Miro face turn out of this.
And he's been consistently more heely. He's pushed over Penelope. He's a juggernaut. Skippable.
Need to find something for him to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next up, Dax Hardwood with Cash versus Jericho with Sammy Guevara, Tyson as special enforcer.
Jesus.
Jericho wins with the Judas effect. Thoughts and scores?
Isn't it nice that Tyson dressed up for the match?
Oh, he pulled
In his granddad outfit.
He looks like me on a lazy day. You know when you get up and you pick up that shirt from the floor next to your bed, then find like a misc pair of shorts and just doss on the sofa all day. That's what Tyson looks like. Anyway, on to the match. We got a solid start, some strikes. We got Tyson being a pretty well on spot enforcer. He didn't miss any of his things. I enjoyed it. We got some cheeky mic healing as they cheated over to get Jericho next to the bench to hit him with the mic. Yeah, it was solid, but not that exciting. I think the weakest point was when Jericho pretty much walked over to head FTR just to get punched when he had him in the Iron Tamer. Like, he didn't have to walk that far to the middle. He'd gone past the middle of the ring. Weird, confusing dub ending, but it was okay. Didn't hate it. Wasn't the best celebrity sort of spot we've seen. The wrestling was clear enough with a few weird decisions. I gave it a C. No one else cared.
It was a bit of a mess, this one. I know they've got to build up to this blood and guts match, but
You think this is a mess? We've got the final match to come.
I know, but I've got to read each segment like it was. I don't know. I just didn't find this that engaging because I'm like, well, Jericho's not losing. So, I don't know. I don't care for Tyson at all for obvious reasons. Just did nothing for me. So it's a low C from me. Yeah. No, it's not that. It's just that the wrestling wasn't that interesting. The storyline's very formulaic at this point.
Can you bring us back with Can you bring us back with some positivity, Morg?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match. It was a B on my scale.
Look at you!
I had fun with this. I thought it was nicely silly. Tyson didn't miss any of his cues. It got over what's going on. I'm not entirely convinced Jericho should have won because it's making the Pinnacle lot look like the Pinnacle at the moment. But I have a feeling they're winning Blood and Guts. I think that's when they'll go over. And this is a case of, they really need to. The Inner Circle have turned face in the same way the Bucks have just turned heel by smashing us in the face with it, which is, in a way, is a good thing. Hitting us over the head with it is actually quite a good thing.
As much as I enjoy some of the more complex plots, like Hangman's fucking epic we've been on, sometimes you just want wrestlers to come out and go, yo, I'm good now. And that's what they did. Yeah. Good times.
Yeah. So, I enjoyed it. It still gets a C, but, following on from that, Budget Club. Well, I suppose we can call them the Budget Club anymore. We've got to call them the Bullet Club. But...
Yeah, they can be Bullet Club now. I think they've got enough members now of actual Bullet Club to be Bullet Club.
Bullet Club promo. Thoughts and scores?
I don't remember it, but all I wrote down was "Yay Gallows," and then I gave it.
They were screaming shit in the background. Gallows and Anderson were screaming about dick stuff. Gallows kept going on about kiss, getting a kiss in. Normal shit. It was solid enough.
Moving on from that, Chris Statlander with Best Friends versus Amber Nova. Statlander wins with the Supernova. I gave this an interesting score. What did you guys give it?
Give it,
And
D.
they come out
Which is
to
a shame.
why does
Pixies.
Statlander come out to Orange Cassidy's song?
Because it's just the Best Friends song now. The Best Friends
Is
came
it?
out to the Pixies.
Yeah.
It's just the Best Friends.
Sorry,
list.
my mistake.
Once again, should have been gigantic. No intro for Paul Nova. F in the chats for her. We get a cool corner drop spot. We get a full fucking military press, which I'll always pop for. Sadly, it was just, here's your clean and smooth squash match to welcome you back.
To the ring.
Oh, yeah. It was well done. I love seeing her. I'm glad she's back. I fucking love the Best Friends. They're feeding the shippers with Orange Cassidy, Statlander confections. Don't need a squash match, D.
See, I gave it a high D. I thought it was a good squash.
A high D. Oh, I'll give it. Oh, look. You know what? I'm down for that. A high D. A new category.
Yeah, I've got it written down here as D/C squash. Which is
Yeah,
a high D.
it was clean and we saw some cool stuff. I just, rather have seen her go straight back into a feud with Ford or something,
Yeah.
A little bit more excitement.
Well, Ford's going to have to turn face soon, apparently. Right, moving on from there, I have this written down as the Team Taz soap opera.
Oh, it's the best. I love it. And I love what it goes into in a moment. Do we want to cover this in one go?
Yeah, okay, so following on from that is a Christian Cage in-ring segment. Taz interrupts and Hobbs beats up Christian. Right,
this whole thing. I love the Stark versus Cage issues. I love the fact we're seeing more of that. I like the fact Taz is like having to tell him off and he's like, yo, you all need to calm down.
Yeah.
Let me deal with this. We can't just go around beating up people. And then what they do is they beat up Cage.
Brilliant.
Taz and Christian have got great bands together. You could see their chemistry in the insults to each other, the 3 steps so they could look eye to eye, the stand on my wallet, the Edge reference, just top bands. Hobbs looked like a fucking monster. It reminded me of the origins of Team Taz. Like, as much as I enjoy their camp soap opera, Ricky versus Cage facial expression off, it's nice to be reminded of why they're a team.
They're really powerful. They're not just a bunch of goofs, yeah.
Yeah.
I have just realised something. We are heading towards either Brian Cage versus Christian Cage, or, this is what I've just realised, we are heading towards Brian Cage and Christian Cage.
Versus Page and Page.
Versus Page and Page.
A cage. You know I want this. I want Cage and Cage versus Page and Page in a cage. There is nothing I want more than that.
Pardon, got to save the Best Friends.
Oh yeah, true. But I really enjoyed this entire section. Everybody looked Cage, and you know I want Dragon George. I gave it a B. A high B for me. If it was just from me, it would be an A. But I accept the fact it was probably a B moment.
It was a B moment, yes, but it was great. It really made Hobbs look strong, which is good. You know, you're elevating that younger star up there, like, oh gosh, he is actually a threat to Christian, which is good. Christian isn't just walking in and stomping everyone like a TNA.
I think slightly it's helped by Christian going, I'm not here to put over the younger guys, I'm here to win championships. And I think that's really clever. Yeah, because I'm actually here to...
I didn't think about that, and that's great.
Exactly like Jericho does, you know? Yeah. He's always like going, oh, I'm not here to do this, this, and this, but he obviously is.
Yeah.
You know, it's great.
So, following on from that, Ty Conti and Shida promo, I thought it was all right. Any thoughts, comments?
I didn't even write it down.
It was...
Oh, God.
It's probably the weakest...
Welcome to our podcast.
It was just
probably the weakest part.
Oh, I know why I didn't write it down. Neither of them are particularly good at English, are they? I don't mean that in a bad way. When English isn't your first natural language, you know, but you need somebody for the other one to bounce off. Like Penta's not that good at English. He can normally carry himself enough for somebody to rip off him. Then they gave him Alex. I'm gonna feel bad for trying to judge this. I'm leaving it to you boys now. I've remembered the promo.
It was all right. It was all right.
It was solid enough. I just don't think this feud is anything exciting because I can't see Tay Conte ever beating Shida, but you know.
Yeah, we're just setting up for Britt. So, are we ready?
Oh God.
Matt Hardy versus Darby Allin in a Falls
Jesus.
Count Anywhere TNT Championship match, during which the Hardy family attack, the Dark Order and Sting for the save, then Lance Archer comes out and saves Sting, or maybe doesn't save Sting, and Sting looks really scared of Lance Archer, but I'm not sure what's going in. Darby Allin wins with a coffin drop off the scaffold. Thoughts and scores?
Through the announcer's table.
Sorry, through the announcer's table.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ, this match. I'm glad you gave me a rundown because I've just looked through my notes. I'm like, this doesn't make a lot of fucking
cigarette
sense.
after you saying those things. God.
I don't think I've written Dubsy Dub in my notes more than possibly one of our earlier Cody main event matches. I'll start with respect. I like the fact Matt Hardy just came out with a chair. That's something which often bugs me in hardcore matches. It's no DQ that they wrestle for a bit. Then somebody's like, oh, maybe I should get a weapon. Matt Hardy's like, no, I've got a chair.
Yeah.
Sadly, then he just does all of his wrestling with a chair because he's getting on a bit, and that wasn't very exciting. And then it went first Dubsy Dub, and Dark Order and Sting came out, even though Sting didn't like them last week, and the entire wrestling thing got a bit clusterfuck, and I didn't know exactly what I was focusing on. We got a cool moment at some point in this fucking mess where Darby handsprung off the steps to throw himself into the railing.
Oh, yeah.
And then Ego and Scorpio
Sky
came out, and that was very Dubsy Dub. And then Lance came out and got rid of them, which was more Dubsy Dub. I think I could have cared if one of these things, or even two of these things could have happened.
Oh,
So much happened. I didn't know what I was meant to be invested in, what was a feud, what was a moment. It was just thing. Then they went backstage. I complimented backstage stuff last week. You know what? I'm taking it away. That compliment has been annulled by this. Don't do backstage stuff unless you're going to do backstage stuff. Match kicked in then near the end a little bit. We got a bit of good stuff from Darby, and it ended. I'm not saying all these wrestlers didn't do what they did with skill and talent and strength. It takes great dedication to be a wrestler. I did a bit of training, hurt my neck a lot, barely there, you know.
Yeah.
And these people are dedicated, and they work their fucking dicks off. But if you overbook your match, it will be shit. And I think I gave this a C out of guilt for the wrestlers and the moments that actually happened in it. Because thinking back through it, I can't remember anything of the match. Like, we do this, 5 days after we watch the show, and I can still think back to spots in that Death Triangle versus the Bucks match, and I know what was going on, and I can still remind myself enough of what I liked, what I didn't like. I can still remember Velvet versus Cargill. I can remember the posing. I can't remember anything of this because it was just all over the fucking place. So I've got a C on there, but I think from my words, it's not a high-scoring C.
You're very nice to give them a C. Let's put it that way.
Come on, boys.
God, this was not for me. This was Russo era booking, in my opinion. Not good Russo, where he's controlled by Vince McMahon. Bad Russo when he's allowed to do whatever the fuck he wants, and it's interruption after interruption, and I just didn't care. After like 5 minutes of interruptions, I was just like, I'm out. I just really hardly watched this match, in all honesty. I was just sitting there like glazing over. Wasn't good. I'm sorry.
Oh, Morg. Come on, Morg. Hit us with the positivity, although your synopsis was not very flattering.
It's all right. It was a C.
Oh.
It was a C.
Oh.
I expected more from Matt Hardy versus Darby Allin. It was an overbooked clusterfuck. The interesting thing for me, and probably the reason it got a C, was the Lance Archer bit. Because it was like, so where's this going? Sting's looking scared. Has Lance come out to save Sting? Because of what he said that he thinks Lance should be in that main event? Has he just come out to prove a point to Sting?
But Sting was doing fine before he came out. He was
I love the fact that Sting was beating up both members of Private Party.
Yeah. I'd forgotten who he was fighting.
Yeah, he was just destroying them. So why if Archer needed to come out to save him, if that was the angle...
I think Archer might just be flexing on him.
Yeah, I don't know.
If there was any
Sting
interest in this match...
selling it by absolute fear and shock in his face from what Archer
least that
had
is
done. So
an interesting thing in the match. I am intrigued to come and find out what's going to happen between Lance, Jake, and Sting. And even if I only get a minor drop, maybe that's enough to take this match up to a C-.
Yeah, fair. We'll go with C-, eh? That's nice.
So
what a bad end compared to what a good beginning. And both of those matches,
beautiful match.
That match could have been a clusterfuck. We've seen enough luchadors versus Bucks things where they do get a bit overbooked and they do get a bit problemy, and they just fucking nailed it. And then they end with this. You might as well have put something on a poll.
There was a bit too much. Just mad stuff going on in this episode. Overall, I enjoyed the episode. What is our final letter maths, Mr. Strange?
It's not a lot of mechanics this week. Out of our 15 entries in my incredibly accurate mathematical scales, 4 of them aren't C's. It was alright. The show was good. I had a Starship Trooper of a time, preferably the big robot ones with nukes for me. But I was entertained for the majority of it. The wrestling was solid, great to solid for most of it. We had a couple of weak spots, a couple of promos that went a bit each way. Mike Tyson bad. We end on a great high and begin on a great high and end on a technically fine clusterfuck. See, it's a good show.
I enjoyed the show more than a C, though, because that first match is great. And if you haven't watched it, watch it.
Yeah.
I've sounded very down during this show, and I can totally see you thinking that I hated it, but that first match was freaking ace.
That's why it's a power armor nuclear missile Starship Trooper, and not a those actors who never worked again Starship Trooper.
Anyway.
Right, moving on. If you'd like to tell us what you thought about Dark, Dynamite, Elevation, if you'd like to send us some stuff to book, something to be angry about, you can get into, or just general questions on our feelings and thoughts on things, you can get in touch with us at wrestleopinionated@gmail.com, WrestleOP on Facebook, and WrestleOP1 on Twitter. Right, it's that time. We have spent 15 weeks reviewing some of our all-time favourite matches. We had 5 picks each. Maybe we went a little bit over the top. Maybe we should have just had 3. And this week we finish off with CM Punk versus John Cena for Money in the Bank. I want to say 2011. I think it is. Big story going into this is CM Punk's contract was actually ending. During a match that John Cena was having with, if I remember correctly, it's Rey Mysterio, CM Punk came out and cut what is famously known as the pipe bomb promo, where he was allowed to shoot a promo talking about all the things that really annoyed him in wrestling, and annoyed a lot of the fans. The fans who were being ignored by Vince, fans of actually calling it wrestling and not sports entertainment. Cut the promo. I remember a friend of mine at work that I used to, where I used to work, there was a friend of mine, we used to both watch wrestling, we used to talk with each other, and him coming up to me and going, there's a thing happens with CM Punk, the internet is on fire, there's something to watch tonight. He knew that Punk was one of my favourites back then and the guy that I had recommended to everybody to keep an eye on from having watched him in Ring of Honor. And yeah, the internet was set fire to. His contract was actually ending. He did not re-sign until the night the night of Money in the Bank. He did not re-sign the contract. And during this time, he had a WWE Championship match that he was guaranteed that was going to happen on the night of his contract ending. And he had threatened to leave WWE, take the championship, go off to Ring of Honor or New Japan, which is what he should have done, but enough of that. So this was John Cena versus CM Punk in Chicago, CM Punk's hometown. So that's all the background story that goes into it, because this one is a very much a story-driven. It's a very story-driven. It's
the only one that came with homework.
Yeah, this is story going in, story going out. So, I'm going to shut up now. And let
You
Mr.
want to hear my
Strange-
opinion?
It was a C match. Let's go home.
All right, okay. Well, as I said, this is the only match with homework, and I watched the promos you sent me, and I don't think I've ever seen a CM Punk match before this one. I had to have a think about it. I think this might ever be my first ever CM Punk match. Pretty sure from the promo work, Phil was the heel going into this. You might have been with the story, and although his promo appealed very much to my inner anarchist,
He turned.
very-
So at the beginning promo, he's the heel, and that's what leads to the face turn.
Right, okay. But a really good little promo video package, the second link you sent me. AEW could learn a lot about editing from WWE.
Yes, they could.
Right, let's go. CM Phil versus Lance Catamaran.
Lance Cameron deserved this match. I can't believe they screwed him like this.
Get a good technical start, and I really enjoyed it. We get some wrist work, we get some actual, lockups and roll rounds from both of them. Thank fucking shit. After my horrific nightmare of WrestleMania last week. Great persona work from actually both of them, if I'm honest. I quite liked CM Punk being like me or him when the chant of "you can't wrestle" comes up. And he sort of points at him and goes, oh, good, thanks. We even get wrist work from Cena. Woo! So a guy stood up in the crowd, had a Colt Cabana shirt on. They wouldn't wear that for Phil anymore, would they? Anyway, the match.
Well, Colt wouldn't be out there bumping fists with him, and Michael Cole, who doesn't know anybody, going, slapping hands with one of his fans. No, that was Colt Cabana.
I missed that.
That's actually Colt, and that is why the fans are then chanting Colt Cabana.
Anyway, this match has actually got some good pacing. It builds like an NJPW match, which I've criticised a lot of promotions for before. We get some good false leads into moves that are escaped. It takes a while before we actually get some big impact moves. None of the submissions or holds are too long. There's no another headlock Randy move. We do get quite a few holds past him, but I don't mind that in the build. We get a huge display of Lance's strength when he just stands up with Punk on his shoulders. It's great.
The big boy.
He is a fucking big boy.
Yeah.
We get neck work from he gets his knee drop over the edge. We get a bunch of different strikes there, a bunch of submissions to the neck. And I always approve of limb work, especially if we've got background for why that's appropriate.
Yeah.
Cena does all 5 of his moves, and he does them so well. That man has got some beautiful hang time on his strikes and falls. And we go back to some more strikes. They don't forget about punching halfway or kicking halfway through. They get it. If I did have to pick a weak spot, there's an abdominal stretch from Cena on Punk about halfway through where he doesn't get the other arm around his leg. And I'm like, why doesn't he just bend his body a bit more? But it doesn't match. Doesn't matter too much. We get another pace build-up exchange of strikes about halfway, 2/3 through the match. We get Punk's step-up knee strike on the ropes, which I really enjoyed. And we get one of my favorite things in wrestling, which is when Punk does his crossbody at Cena. Cena catches him and rolls through. That goes into another bunch of exchanges there. We get a rope guillotine with a drop off the apron from Cena, and that is great for both of them. Punk sells it brilliantly, and it's just a great drop and slam from Cena. You can see why he was the big dimes machine. Just a shame that he got pushed to the point where people got sick of him, because here you really see some of his potential. He's the fucking most famous wrestler in the world. It's not potential. What we could have had if he'd been worked less. Get a great turnbuckle struggle with them actually fighting on each other. Punk sells his leg all the way through. I don't know if he was actually injured, but he's got a good stumble as he's going. Still don't like the go to sleep. I don't like it on Kenta. I don't like it on CM Punk. I don't think it's a very good looking move. I'm sorry, Morg.
No, it's not. It's not. As I have stated before, he's not allowed his actual finisher because it is a better version of the pedigree.
I see. Is it some kind of
it's a top rope pedigree. The Pepsi plunge is off the top of the corner pedigree.
Oh, but then I'd be mad he'd named it after a
corporate
company,
shilling.
A corporate. Okay. I'd be sad that a man who has Punk in his name.
No, to be fair, it's not that. It's to do with his straight edge thing.
He's got a Pepsi tattoo though.
He still has a Pepsi tattoo.
Which is again to do with his straight edge. It's one of the straight edge things.
Okay.
Boo. I'm not a straight edge punk. But back to this match. The fucking Vince comes out. Vinnie Mac, no chance. I love
God,
Vince.
I miss Vince.
As I said, if I could swap one thing from WWE to AEW, it would be Vince. And Vince comes out with a good play on the Montreal Screwjob of Ring the Bell. I like that. He's got John Laurinaitis to go and do it. Great face moment from Cena when he's like, no, I have to win this my way. You know, I've got to do this properly. I am the best in the world. Almost like he's trying to prove to us that he is a real wrestler. Then he walks in and gets fucking decked, and it's over, and it was perfect. I laughed.
Stupid.
It was great. I'm gonna win this my own way.
I can do this. Instantly lose it.
I'd say this match starts at a B. We've got some slow build-up ring work in an NJPW style. We get to know their characters. We get some good wrestling. That's what I like. This is like a lot of the matches I've suggested start off as quite slow matches and then build to a crescendo. And that's what we get. Even with the, I'm not going to say fully comedy, but the dirty win, which you obviously had to get. Cena is your biggest face and biggest person.
Yeah.
It builds up with shenanigans and story and good wrestling. I'll skip the bit with fucking Del Rio coming out because that just made me laugh. I would give this a solid A from my current perspective. It is a good match that builds and has story. It's a very, very good match. I don't mean that in any way. It would obviously be higher if I had watched any of this era of wrestling and cared about CM Punk. Very possibly it would blow my mind and I would give it an S. But this is 100% an A rank match. The story, the build, read both their characters, you get everything you want in a match, and Vince shows up. Really good. Good suggestion, Morg.
I think the problem with this match has it suffered from time. I think the problem now is I can see this match done better in the Tokyo Dome every year. But at the time, this would have been mind-blowing. But now it's like, I see Shingo pulling off this match. But it was really good. I enjoyed it. The randoms, I didn't like the screw job bit because I'm sick
really?
Of it.
I'm with you.
Of it.
This is where you fall down strange because you haven't been watching Dubsy during this whole period. They have done the screw job so many. If this had been the first time they'd done it since the screw job, this would have been amazing. But it really wasn't. They always go back to that well. They do it all the time. If this had been the first time they'd done it, this would have been phenomenal because you'd have really been on the edge of your seat. Or, well, you wouldn't because you knew where it was going. Sorry, Muir, carry on. I just wanted to back you up on that because that's the thing. That's the one bit I dislike about it.
But the match is actually absolutely solid. The only other criticism I have from this is the belt. I hate that belt so much. It's so hideous. But other than that, a spinner belt, mate.
You hate the spinner belt? What's wrong with you people?
That's not the proper spinner. That was the after spinner that didn't spin.
Did that not spin?
No, that one didn't spin, I don't think that one spun. I think that was the one based on the spinner belt.
This is a D match. Sorry, Morg. If it doesn't have a spinner belt, I don't care anymore. No,
shall we just discuss New Japan's new belt?
No.
I'd rather have that than the spinner.
I'd rather have the spinner than that.
Let's get back on point. Yeah, this was your standard Kenny versus Okada match done like 5 years before with worse booking from backstage, I would say. The only thing that can help this back from being better is I'd say that the backstage was probably like, no, you have to do it this way or that way, while as more contemporary wrestling's allowed to do things because they don't have a maniac telling them what to do. But it was solid. It was a high B from me. I really enjoyed this. And if I was there at the time, I would have probably given this an S because it was real good.
So, this is one of Dubsy's, 3 5 stars. And I know we laugh at that, but, there is a point to that. And this was back when a 5-star actually did mean something. It was a great match. I really enjoyed it. The match itself probably an A. I still enjoyed it again, even though I've watched this match more than once. But it's been a long time since I've watched it. The storyline at the time, I think, had you been watching at the time very much with our indie shitter attitude, you'd have been very on board with the promo, etc. You know, as I say, it broke the internet. This is the reason that I liked Punk from his Ring of Honor days. At some point, we need to watch Punk versus Samoa Joe's 1 hour draws from Ring of Honor. They are
got to watch
phenomenal.
Samoa Joe into the mix.
Yeah, Punk versus Samoa Joe's 1 hour draws. There's 2 of them, and the story behind them is hilarious because apparently Punk had some 1 hour draws with another wrestler, and the head booker at Ring of Honor, whose name escapes me at the second, said to Punk, "Oh, you know, why don't you have one of those with Joe in this storyline?" So Punk waited till Joe was drunk. And had a couple of beers, and then went, "Should we do a 1 hour draw?" And Joe went, "Yeah, sure." And then
straight edge people taking advantage.
Oh yes, the interview is with Joe and Punk, and it is quite a funny interview. I don't know how true that is, but yes, allegedly, Punk waited till Joe had a couple of beers and thought it was a good idea. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed really watching, and I've enjoyed watching all these matches. I think I've had one weird one.
We've been on a tour, haven't we? We've experienced pretty much everything in this one. Which is your standout of other people's picks for things that not necessarily that you enjoyed the most, Morg? Not necessarily the best match, but which one did you enjoy the most? Which one sticks out in your mind?
I'm having a name like Naito.
Oh, wicked! I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
It was Shingo versus Cobb. I'm sorry.
Especially as that was of the matches that I didn't already know.
Yeah, I got you.
If it's the matches I already knew, probably Savage versus Steamboat from other people's picks. What about
you?
Yeah. What about Muir?
I don't know actually, because a lot of these strangest picks I've seen before. I'm trying to think of matches I hadn't seen before on this list. So give me a second. Over to you, Strange. You have a thing.
I'm going to go for one of 100% definitely Muir's choice. I really, really, really enjoyed watching Zack Sabre Jr. versus Chucky T again. I love that match. Not one of my picks. Just throwing that out there.
Is that like you liking the Mayu versus Kagetsu match?
Oh, that was a great choice. Good work on that one as well.
No, that was your choice.
Oh shit, that was actually me.
Yes.
God damn it.
So of the matches, also the matches you haven't seen, Strange.
Oh, I've seen most of them. I think the only one I hadn't seen of these was this one. This was
Had you seen Taker Michaels?
Yes.
Oh, right.
At least in a million clips. If I was going to go for my favourite of your... in fact, probably my favourite other pick will have been the X Division AJ versus CD and...
Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe. Well, Samoa Joe was added into the mix.
If you add Samoa Joe to any mix, you know... Are
you looking forward to Samoa Joe being added to the mix at AEW?
Yes.
He's got a 50% chance of winning now that Steiner's not there.
What about if Kurt Angle's added in as well?
Well, Kurt Angle knows he can't beat Steiner, so his chances dramatically go down.
Because the numbers don't lie.
And they do smell disaster.
And sacrifice.
So what we're saying is the next time we do one of these, it'll be much shorter. We won't be reviewing matches. We're going to pick our 5 favourite promos.
Oh, fuck, son. I'm in. I'm writing that down. We're doing this.
You're going to have to watch the whole of the pipebomb promo, though.
It's okay. I've seen that almost as many times as I watched the Scott Steiner promo in a week.
Oh, that's an interesting one. Top 5 favourite promos. Yeah, that's something for the future. Right, anyway, there you have it. Normal service will be resumed next week. We'll be back to coming up with discussions. It's all right, Muir, you're safe. We've already got an idea for the first discussion. You haven't got to think of anything. I want to thank Anchor.fm for hosting the podcast. If you want to find us, we are Wrestleopinionated on YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor.fm. Over to you, Mr. Muir.
Thank you very much for coming on. been great to actually see you all and listen to all this podcast and have fun with it all. And I don't know where I'm going with this at all. And if you'd like to send anything in to us,
Please do.
Yeah, please send it into wrestleopinionated@gmail.com, WrestleOP on Facebook, or WrestleOP1 on Twitter. Over to you, Strange.
Cheers again for listening. Regardless of what platform you're listening to us on, please give us one of those lovely thumbs up. If you can click the like, share, subscribe, whatever the buttons are on there, that would be great. I think there's a little heart thing now. If you want to leave us a comment, that will definitely help. Give us a little bit of more advice. Ignore those people selling sex pills on our YouTube clips. But yeah, cheers again. Give us a thumbs up. Back
and it's
to you,
always Mayu time.
And as always, that's it. Goodbye and good night.